October 26th, 2021. This hearing is being conducted pursuant to certain temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the city's website. Prior to reviewing procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Thank you, Maureen. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I'm Chair of the Licensing Board, and today I am joined by Commissioner Kiana Saxon and Commissioner Liam Curran. We're going to take one item. We're going to take the first item, which is old and new business. And this is different from our regular licensed premise inspection hearings. And we're going to take this item up so that we can appoint Danny Green as the new Executive Secretary to the board. So I'm going to make a motion to appoint Danny. Is there a second? Commissioner Curran or Saxon? Second the motion? Okay. All in favor of appointing Danny Green as Executive Secretary?
Aye.
So there we have it. Danny Green has been appointed Executive Secretary of the Licensing Board. So with that, we'll continue to move into the violations today.
Great, thank you. And I look forward to working with you all. With that said, I will call each item in the order that appears on the agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the licensee, who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department, and whether there are any other individuals with knowledge of the alleged incident. I will then swear in all parties. After that, the police report will be read into the record. The licensee or the representative will have the opportunity to make a brief statement, followed by questions by the chairwoman and the commissioners. Again, all testimony will be limited only to individuals with personal knowledge of the alleged event. So we'll start calling item number 1, Castaneda Gomez Corporation, doing business as La Fonda Colombiana, located at 972 to 974 Saratoga Street in East Boston. Date of the incident, August 10th, 2021. Fight with patron in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning. My name is Attorney Miriam Cicero, and I represent the business. And Mr. Castañeda, I have right here on red, Jorge Castañeda, the owner of the business. We have Sonia Alvarez, and she's the bartender, the person who was there at the incident. And we have Luz, ¿su apellido? ¿Su apellido?
Yes, Luz Arroyave.
Arroyave, and she is the manager of the with the liquor license.
Great. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant James DeFeo was assigned to Area A7.
Police Officer John Hill assigned to Area A7.
Great. Thank you. And are there any other individuals with personal knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify? Okay, can all parties please raise your right hand? Just waiting. Great, thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Sergeant DeFeo, please proceed with the police report.
Officer Pels was the author of the report he'll be reading.
At about 12:37 a.m. on Tuesday, August 10th, 2021, Officers Bang and Pels assigned to the Gold 201 Alpha responded to a radio call for a fight at 972 Saratoga Street, East Boston, known as La Fonda Colombiana Restaurante Bar. Before arrival, the Channel 2 dispatcher informed the officers that the caller stated a male was throwing a bottle and hitting people. The caller described the male as Hispanic male, dark skin, white shirt, red shorts, and white shoes. The caller further stated that people are bleeding and need EMS. Upon arrival, with the assistance of the Gold 411 Alpha, Officer Ford, officers observed a male matching the description of the possible suspect outside 972 Saratoga Street. The male suspect, later identified as Christopher Hernandez, DOB 326-1990, approached the officers and put his hands behind his back. At the same time, a large crowd came out yelling at Mr. Hernandez, and officers decided to move Mr. Hernandez to a marked cruiser number 4517 to separate the group until officers could control the scene. While Officer Pell stayed with the suspect, a large crowd came to Officer Bang, pointing at victim 1, later identified as Jorge Ignacio Castaneda Garcia, DOB 51774, was holding paper towels on his head to stop bleeding. Officer Bang requested Boston EMS immediately. Officer Ford and Officer Bang attempted several times to control the crowd, but the crowd refused to call the officers. When Officer Bang requested Boston EMS on Channel 2 due to loud feedback from the crowd, the Gold 101 Alpha Officers Ryder and Ortiz, gold 412, Officer Frederick, gold Tango 55, Officer Cunningham, gold 911, Sergeant Holden, gold 918, Sergeant DeFavo arrived on scene to assist. The large crowd then brought victim 2, later identified as Mario Adonier Alvarado Escobar, DOB 32693, who was bleeding badly from his head and clothes covered with blood. Officer Bang requested second EMS to the above location. A male caller later identified as Jonathan Azucena, DOB 6790, approached the officers and gave his statements. Mr. Azucena stated that he was drinking with his friends and heard loud verbal altercations between the suspect and victim 3, later identified as Samora Valsimone, DOB 3486. Victim 1 and 2 attempted to intervene in order to de-escalate the situation. Mr. Asazuna stated that he observed the suspect picked up a chair and began hitting people with it. He further stated that the suspect took a small wooden baseball bat from a motor vehicle and used it to break 2 front glass windows. Officer Bang observed the glass of the 2 front doors was broken. Officer Bang was not aware of victim 3, but the other officers on the scene informed the officer that all 3 victims were transported to Mass General for evaluation. Sergeant Holden informed officers to transport the suspect to District A7 for booking, while other officers would stay at 972 Saratoga Street to control the scene. Sergeant Holden further informed officers that the Gold Tango 55, Officer Cunningham, was at Massachusetts General Hospital to gather victims' information and medical status. Officers Bang and Pels attempted to move the suspect from the marked cruiser to the officer's assigned cruiser, Patrol Wagon 9618. The suspect kicked the marked cruiser's window, very violent, and refused to cooperate with officers. Officer Pels notified Channel 2 dispatcher of the suspect's behavior. The assistance of Officer Ryder, officers finally moved the suspect to marked Patrol Wagon 9618. While officers Bang and Pels transported the suspect, they observed the suspect hit his head and body slamming inside the marked cruiser intentionally. Officers notified Channel 2 dispatcher, and suspect's actions were filmed on body camera. Upon arrival at District 7, the suspect attempted to fight with officers. With the assistance of the Gold 421 Alpha, Officer Palon and Sergeant Holder, officers moved the suspect to the booking area. It should be noted that the suspect refused a booking procedure. Officer Ortiz, who remained at 972 Saratoga Street, spoke with several witnesses to gather their statements. Officer Ortiz spoke with witness 1, later identified as Sonia Alvarez Builes, DOB 3183, who stated that the suspect was informed by the restaurant manager that he could not stay without purchasing food or drinks. Ms. Alvarez Builes observed the suspect was agitated but bought a shot of tequila through her. Ms. Alvarez Builes stated that after the suspect drank his alcoholic beverage, he asked one customer to dance with him, which she refused. That led the suspect to pick up a chair and started to hit and throw at people. Ms. Alvarez Builes also observed the suspect to go outside and pick up a small bat from a motor vehicle and proceed to smash the glass of the 2 front doors. Officer Ortiz spoke with witness 2, who refused to give her information. She stated that the suspect approached her and asked her to dance with her. When witness 2 refused, the suspect got mad, picked up a chair and started to hit people with it. Suspect's motor vehicle, Black Jeep Liberty Mass Reg 2 Hotel Delta Kilo 55, was towed from the scene for safekeeping to avoid vandalism by other people at the scene. City side towing towed the vehicle. Let's see. The suspect, Mr. Christopher Hernandez, was charged with the following: 3 counts of assault and battery with dangerous weapon, chair, 2 counts destruction of property, baseball bat, disorderly conduct, 272-53. Sergeant DeFeo arrived at La Fonda Colombiana restaurant and issued a code 35 violation. Officer Pels retrieved a small baseball bat used to break the glass doors and was logged into Boston Police evidence. It's the end of the report.
Thank you, Officer Pels. Attorney Cicero, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, please. I spoke with my clients. I did my due diligence here, and it appears to me from the report and what I gathered from the clients and all the witnesses that basically there was no fight between the patrons. Here, what we have is a very violent, extremely violent man who even went after the police officers, refusing cooperation, hitting the cruiser. I mean, you name it. The man came into the establishment around 11:30. He had 1 drink, and all hell broke loose when he asked the woman to go dance with him. It created havoc. Basically, my client, Jorge Castañeda, tried to stop him, along with 2 other gentlemen who ended up with blood all over the body and their head. He had to have a number of stitches in the head. I mean, my clients were basically a victim. When this gentleman was being violent and attacking everyone inside, my client did his best to safeguard all the patrons. At some point, Mr. Hernandez left the premises. And my client and the employees, what they did is lock the doors to prevent this gentleman from coming back, because they saw him coming back with a bat. He broke the windows. He broke a number of, this is the, I don't know if the commission can see how many stitches. ¿Cuántos huecos?
Yes.
10 stitches in his head. La foto de la puerta. And when he came back with a baseball bat, he broke 4 glasses and the whole doors of the front, trying to attempt to come back and probably killed all my clients and the employees and destroy the whole place. So as I said, there's no fight with the patrons. This is the destruction of the property, the destruction of the doors by this gentleman, by Hernandez. And this is the chair that was thrown to the people. So we have ample evidence to show that this is an action by one deranged man. I gathered from my clients that Monday, this happened on a Monday. This is not like a Friday or Saturday. This is Monday. And they tell me that yesterday there was only 3 people. Usually it's from 3 to 5, maybe 7 people on a Monday. I gathered from my clients that they do have a camera, but there's only 8 days. So we're gonna expand that to 30-day subscription, so we have more of a time frame. And I asked, I said, do you guys have security? And they do have security. They have security on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturday, and Sunday. They have a contract with CI Security, and I have the invoice for that. So they've done, I believe, everything they could. This is a freak accident, something that happened with a deranged man that could have happened anywhere. And the business has been open for since 2019, no violations ever. 2 of the employees, Miss Sonia and Miss Luz, they've been there working even before Mr. Jorge Castañeda took over as an owner. And they report to me that 9 to 12 years, this has never happened, something like this. It's something that was not expected. It was just an unexpected accident where, as I said, a number of patrons ended up being held hostage inside of the business. And the mob that they were talking about is that the number of people that were held inside trying to protect their lives from Mr. Hernandez. Miss Luz tells me that because it's a Monday, she left a little bit early, around 10:30.
Yes.
Around 10:30, it was very quiet. And this, as I said, this deranged man, Hernandez, got in there around 11:30, and he had 1 drink. So I asked the commission to dismiss this violation. It's not a true violation. This is an act by one crazy man, and I'm so happy the police ended up taking this man into custody. He's facing the law. He's facing 5 charges, and I thank the police officers and Mr. Castañeda for having taken swift action in protecting his employees. God forbid something worse could have happened. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairwoman Joyce?
Thank you. Attorney Cicero, could you or your clients, or perhaps someone that's with you in the room today, could you tell me how many people were inside the bar on this particular Monday night?
I did ask my clients. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 employees and 8 people. I have 3 bartenders, 3 bartenders, Mr. Jorge, and 8 people, 8 patrons.
It was only 8 patrons, and the police report says a large crowd gathered outside.
¿Cuánta gente había que salió?
Habíamos 12 personas en el lugar.
In total, 12 people. I asked him the same thing. I said, this sounds like a mob, but it was only 12 people. I think the language barrier had a lot to do with this, because a lot of things, as you can see, was missing from the report. Only when I think the Puerto Rican police officer came in, that's when everything got, it was kind of discerned as to what happened, because in the beginning they thought my Mr. Jorge Castañeda was the one who was fighting with Hernandez, but it was not the case. Later it became clarified. So it's not like a mob, like 100 people. It was only 12 people.
Okay. Was the suspect known to your clients or any of the staff?
Primera vez que vino, no?
Yes.
First time. Usually these guys are, as I said, they've been open for 20 years. I mean, they know each other. It's like a community, but this guy, they've never seen him before. ¿Lo ha visto alguien? They've never seen him before. First time that he showed up, Hernandez.
This is the first, you're stating today on the record, this is the first time Hernandez showed up?
Primera vez.
Primera vez que yo lo veo, yo no lo vi.
Primera vez que lo
Yo
ve.
no lo vi. Yo no lo vi.
No,
Yo no lo había visto.
First time.
Okay. And would you say when he arrived, what was his state? Was he intoxicated? Was he, could you give me some description about what he was like when he entered premises?
I asked Sonia, and Sonia tells me that he was very well built, very muscle, and he seemed fine. He was very depressed because his wife was calling him, and he was gonna fly to Colombia, and apparently he's from the Dominican Republic. He chatted for at least half an hour. And I asked her, I said, did he sound like drunk, intoxicated? He sounded fine. ¿Sonaba bien?
Sí, es que él hablaba, no, una persona súper tranquila.
She thought he was very quiet, was just like a spur of the
Lo único
moment.
que estaba discutiendo con la esposa, estaba peleando.
He was fighting, Mr. Jorge indicates that he was just fighting on the text with the wife.
Okay, okay. Can I just ask one of the officers, would you agree that the crowd was about 12 people?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any other questions. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon?
No questions from me, thank you.
And nothing in addition from me, thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this under advisement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 2 has been continued pursuant to a request by licensee, as they have recently retained new counsel. This will be continued to December 14th, and a subsequent continuance will not be granted. Now calling item number 3, Harold Crockett Company Incorporated, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, located at 855 William T. Morrissey Boulevard. Date of the incident, September 20th, 2021. Expired common victualler license in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 2. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Danny, well, it looks like no one's here. We'll take a second call.
We can do that. Okay, moving on to item number 4. Speedway LLC, doing business as Speedway, number 2448, located at 90 to 100 Brighton Avenue in Alston. Date of the incident, September 21st, 2021, expired common victualler license in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 2. Is there anybody here on behalf of the licensee? Looks like there is nobody here.
So why don't we go back to number 3 and read it into the record?
Absolutely. Calling number 3 once again, Harold Crockett Company Incorporated, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, located as 855 William T. Morrissey Boulevard. Date of the incident, September 20th, 2021, expired common victualler license in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 2. And we will send a communication from the board. And once
Can I just ask, they were served on September 21st, is that correct?
September 20th.
September 20th, and we haven't heard from them? Okay.
No.
Okay, we can go on to the next one.
And once again, to read number 4 back into the record, Speedway LLC, doing business as Speedway number 2448, located at 90 to 100 Brighton Avenue in Alston. Date of the incident, September 21st, 2021, expired common victualler license in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 2. And similarly, incident occurred on September 21st, and we have not heard from them either.
Okay, before we close out, I'd just like to read the police reports into the record. Neither of them have showed up and they've received proper notice, so we'll continue with reading it into the record. So we'll go back to the Dunkin' Donuts one, and I'll ask Sergeant Detective Gallagher to read the police report into the record.
Want to swear me in?
Oh, sure, sorry. All right, so number 3, yes. Can you please raise your right hand?
Yep.
Great. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Good
with the
morning.
police report.
Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, reading from Boston Police Incident Report that I wrote on 9/20/2021 at 10:25 p.m. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to licensed premise unit, conducted a licensed premise inspection of Dunkin' Donuts at 855 Morrissey Boulevard. Detectives observed that the common victuals license posted back on 12/31/2020. This was brought to the attention of the person in charge, Mr. Tyrone Williams, who stated he would inform his superiors. As a result, what detectives had observed, Sergeant Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice number 060212 to Dunkin' Donuts for the expired common victuals license. Mr. Williams signed for and accepted the notice. In addition, this Dunkin' Donuts is owned by a group, and we went down to one of their locations down at Dorchester Avenue and Adams Street, which I believe is the corporate. We've been informed that the gentleman owned this has since died, and his wife is running the operation. Might be a reason for some of the confusion, but a whole bunch of these Dunkin' Donuts were expired, and they were aware of the hearing. We went down and informed them of that.
Okay, so you're stating
That's
that the owner died, the owner of this whole group died, and perhaps the people don't know how to fill out the forms?
Yes, I think Peter in the office had talked to them. We went down the second time, the one at Adam Street. Manager came from downstairs, and she informed me that there was a husband and wife that owned it. The husband has since passed. The wife is running it, and she might need a little help with the paperwork, but I believe they all renewed up at the same time because the lady was able to pull out a 2021 common victual license for the one we're at. It was also expired. We went in to inspect it, and she said that they were, making their way through some uncharted waters, I believe, but that could be a reason for what's going on.
Okay, thank you. We'll
You're welcome.
follow up. And we'll read the Speedway into the record.
Thank you. Yep, for item number 4, Speedway, who will be testifying on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I will.
Okay, Detective Hernandez, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please continue with the police report.
Good morning. I'll be reading from a police report which I wrote on Tuesday, September 21st, 2021. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to the BPD licensed premise unit, conducted a licensed premise inspection of the Speedway gas station located at 90 Brighton Ave in Boston. While reviewing the licenses and permits of the establishment, detectives observed that there was no common victuals license posted. Detectives were aware that the establishment's common victuals license had expired on December 31st, 2020. Detectives brought this to the attention of the person in charge, Mr. Louis Santana. As a result of what detectives observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 060213 for expired common victuals license. Mr. Santana signed for and accepted the notice. So.
Thank you. And the record will show that no one showed up today. And I think that's it.
All right. Thank you. Item number 5 has been withdrawn due to the licensee renewing their license prior to the hearing date. Those are all of the items that we have for today. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day.
You
You
too.
too.
Thank
Enjoy.